Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke Payson, and I am excited to have a very entertaining fighter and all-around personality, Brendan Kelly, on the show. Brendan, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
It's very exciting to have you on for a chat. This is MMA Fancast, and you are a week away for doing boxing, for fighting for the West Virginia State Amateur Welterweight title. And so let's jump in there. When did you start doing USA boxing sanctioned amateur fights, and what's your record? How's that been going? Obviously, congratulations. You're exactly a week away from fighting for the West Virginia title. So things are headed in your direction for sure.
I appreciate it, man. So fighting at 152 for that belt. And I started kind of doing more 2-minute round fights and stuff once I realized that, I just wanted to fight more and get better. The only reason all I was going to do that was just fighting. So I've never had a coach or a team or gym or anything like that. So I've just trained myself for pretty much these last, I'd say 14 to like 17 months. I've actually invested into boxing, and in about that time now, from people that I've been with, told me I've jumped about like 4 years worth. So I feel really good. I started fighting just to win money to keep my gym alive, and I was doing tough man style, where just simply I've trained my entire life to be big, faster and stronger than everyone that was significantly bigger than me. And then I get to go in a ring with people that are the same size. And so I was just manhandling them. And then from there, everyone was like, oh, you're just fighting bums and you're just, you're not really boxing and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds like a fun new goal. Let's see how good I can become at this. And so that's what this last kind of like 14 months has been more driven to just say, all right, I'm going to see how good I can come at this. And I'm finding out right there at the top or almost already.
Yeah, you're an all-around talented guy. In one of your boxing fights, you actually did a full backflip, not between rounds. I think when I first watched it, I thought, oh, well, maybe that was at the end of the round. No, it was actually, and I rewatched it about 5 times. And I realized that you landed a punch, you stunned your opponent. That gave you the opportunity to land the backflip, and then you landed another punch, and he had not hit a punch on you between. So not only was it impressive that you did a backflip during the fight, you landed a punch, did a backflip, landed another punch, all like it was part of the combo. So is that something you just did for fun, or did you plan in some way to set that up? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, it was definitely planned. So I've always been 5'9", and stuff. I've always been overlooked for just my size. So a couple years ago, that's why I started breaking world records and stuff. But a couple years ago, just got fed up with getting overlooked, and I was like, I'm just going to show people keep denying me. I'm just going to show everybody how damn good I am. So that was my first boxing match ever, and it was in front of like 5,000 to 7,000 in the stands and like 1 million more on pay-per-view. And so I knew Barstool had a big name, and my whole thing was, all right, well, I'm just fighting regular people. I was like, I'm better than regular people. I was like, I asked the guy, I was like, hey, am I allowed to do this? And he's like, well, I mean, they can't stop you. And I was like, all right. So that was within the first 10 seconds of my first fight ever. So landed it, and then that's kind of how everything got going. But the thing is, I gave myself an opportunity to open a door. And that's probably one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, though, because it wasn't staged or anything. It was literally just, hey, let's go for it. If I fail, I fail. But the entire time, once the fight started, I said, where's my opportunity? Where's my opportunity? Where's my opportunity? Here it is. Boom. And I just did it and went for it.
Well, you talk a lot of very exciting things. I got to watch a video you posted to your Facebook page back from just a couple weeks ago, kind of summarize your last couple of years. We're going to go through some of it. It's great that you've been kind of pushing yourself to show what talent and skill you really are. That's why I called you an all-around legend at the beginning, and very talented. You currently run a gym Ultimate Ninja, and I know you've appeared at least on one season of American Ninja Warrior, maybe more. Season 5 you were on. So is your gym primarily you teaching people to do the American Ninja stuff? And what got you into the Ninja Warrior stuff, to parkour and all the physical body weight challenge type stuff prior to getting into boxing?
Okay. Yeah. So I've been on Ninja Warrior 5 times
Okay.
now. My first season happened because of most people don't know this about me, but I lost an entire muscle in my leg my sophomore year of college after I was having one of the best statistical seasons ever, and they told me I'd never be able to play sports again. And I came back in just a month and a half, and then I became a 3-time All-American in football and track. And because of my quick recovery and stuff, my dad actually applied for me on the show in season 4, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have him on." And then my first time, I was just training for track at that time. My first time on, I made it all the way to the finals in Vegas, and then next season, I got on again for a couple times and stuff, and then um, uh, sorry, what was the initial question? Sorry, because I rambled on to something else.
Oh, hey, we're both a lot alike in that sense. I was asking you, and you got to that. I was asking what got you in to the Ninja Warrior
Okay,
stuff because
yeah.
you're running a gym now in that.
Yeah, and so and that's the thing is there's no places to actually train and stuff. And then there are a couple in random places and stuff, and I saw the business opportunity with it. And my entire life, want to be a professional athlete, get paid to train, get paid to work out. And so I just said, all right, why not go for it? So actually, at the time, I literally put every penny I had, which was like $8,000, and then just rented or paid the down payment to get the building, and then I maxed out my credit cards to buy all the stuff, and then I built it all, and that's when the world shut down in March of 2020, and then that's how I started fighting because I had to win money to keep the gym alive. Then I found out I was good at it. But yeah, at the gym now, it's half boxing, half ninja. I basically survive off actually just birthday parties and like camps, but I do ninja classes and ninja leagues and personal training.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had seen the video on Facebook. It's an impressive gym for anybody that's in your area. Ultimate Ninja, really check it out. You showed some before and after. You took an empty shell of a building and made it look, world class level training in there as far as the equipment goes. I've never seen a Ninja Warrior gym set up with boxing, so it was cool to see a full boxing ring, sort of more of a boxing setup with ninjas. So do you now do boxing? I know for yourself, but do you now coach and train boxing, or is that mainly there for you?
No, I the guy that essentially is kind of my coach, but not like he helps out me out. He coaches everyone else, but he's so busy and stuff all the time with them that I get like one day a week with him or something. But his name's BJ Robinson, and he's world class. And so like if I ever need to connect a foot movement with something like I can't get down, I basically just go to him, and then I just run it myself. But I basically spar all the kids and stuff like that, because that's actually made me a lot better of just working on movement. And well, you don't get truly penalized if they hit you in the face. But like I'll play games where I'll line up the whole youth class and they each get 45 seconds to throw up my face, and whoever hits me in the face the most gets money. But so most I've ever been hit in the face in 45 seconds is 3 times. So it's but it gets me. It's a heck of a workout.
Well, that's a very unique. I love how willing you are to kind of test yourself, but also try new things. Using the kids' energy, and they're very erratic. So the fact that you're kind of learning to move with them is fantastic. You mentioned, and I wanted to get to this. You mentioned that you hold 2 world records. From the time where you kind of decided to push yourself and show the world what a talent you are. You hold the world record in running a mile backwards. I saw the video. Very impressive. Under 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 53 seconds and 23 seconds, 29. under 6 minutes for backwards. Did you have a goal time? What was the previous record, and what is your fastest? I know you said you were All-American in football and track. What was your fastest 1600 going forward? I'm wondering, because you have to have a blazing fast forward mile to be able to run backwards in under 6 minutes.
Yeah, so I was my best race was the half mile. I was a 149 guy, but my best mile was 408. But it's so both my records are effort-based records of stuff I'm good at, essentially already preemptively could. But so like my whole strategy behind it was to show people you can do anything you want in life as long as you're willing to put in the work that is required behind it. So all I simply had to do was show up every single day and put in the work that I needed to do to get where I needed to be. And that was it. It was just having the discipline to do that. So I just replicated my forward workouts, but made it backwards. But first I had to gain the strength in my quads to physically last a mile. So building up a lot of strength, just doing slower mileage at like 10-minute mile pace stuff, and just getting there, and then doing intervals, stuff like that. And then the record was 5:54 something. I beat it by a whole second, but I could beat it by way more. I did it in front of at a college track meet stuff, and I just didn't want to go out and burn out and stuff. So I made it close, but I had so much energy left. But that guy that I beat it from actually did re-break it, and now I think it is in like 540 something. And then my second world record I broke was the most chin-ups in 24 hours. And so the average American now can't do one chin-up because the average American is obese. So I became the world's best at that. It only took me 18 hours to break it. The record was 5,200 or 5,300 something. And then I stopped at 5,555 because it was a good number, and I had a fight 3 weeks later. And so I just wanted, and I kind of had something in my like Terry's major was bothering me. And so I was like, I'll revisit this another time when I can get sponsorship and actually get paid for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, your attitude there, as far as that you want to show to people that it's the effort you put in, both of those body weight type stuff. Congrats to you for setting the backwards mile. Obviously, hats off to the guy who re-broke it. I'm sure that might be something you decide to go after again in the future. But I was watching the end of your video of the chin-ups, and of course you set it at 5,555, which is a great number. But I was expecting, and obviously I hadn't gotten a chance to talk to you, I would have expected after you finished to like either collapse or fall over because of the exertion, but you looked relatively good. Obviously, you fought 3 weeks later. What was the recovery like from that, given the fact that of 5,555 chin-ups in 18 hours, I would have expected somebody to look much more fatigued. So your conditioning level must have been incredibly high for that.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, it was putting in the work that was required. So that took about 6 months. But initially, when I started training, 100 or chin-ups in a day would leave me sore 2 to 3 days. But I built myself up, and then I got to where I was doing a minimum of 200 a day. And then like on a Friday, it would be how fast can I do 1,000, which usually is about 90 minutes. And then, so what I do is the way I would train, I have a number, but then I don't, I take the absolute minimal rest I need to be able to give me more. So I would, it's finding the threshold, your anaerobic threshold, to where your lactic acid doesn't build up to a state that you can recover. And so what that is doing is I would stay at that threshold and I would just hold it. So then I could grow it. So pretty much start out with every 12 seconds doing 2 chin-ups, and continuously would just do that for like an hour. And then your body gets used to that. And then you do 3, and then you try where you're getting, if you can get 4 for an hour, that's pretty dang amazing in between. But then you add a weight vest in some of your stuff and things like that. So what I did pretty much 2 months out was I only did chin-ups with me weighing 40 pounds or 20 to 40 pounds more.
Mm.
Yeah. And then it becomes easy on your body. The worst part of it all is actually your fingers. The amount of pain your hands go in is by far the worst. My fingers took 3 days to come back to normal size. They were about twice the size for about 3 days.
Well, obviously, congratulations to setting that record. It also is super helpful when you're talking and breaking things down. I love how you break it down in the goal is big, but the way to get there, it's small increments. It's incremental growth. It's that idea of getting 1% better each day. It's a really great mindset to live by. I like some of the technical stuff. I used to be a college track and field coach for Waynesburg University, a little D3 school in Greene County. So I kind of get some of like the breakdown. You have to look at the big goal, but then you have to break it down into manageable things. And you mentioned interval training, and I'm sure you know that that was actually created by a guy by the last name of Fartlek, which is an interesting sounding name, right? But yeah, that interval training of Coach Fartlek. But it really is a great way of building up. It's not just hit the wall as fast as you can. It's push and then back off, push and then back off, and it really develops much more. Cross country does that a ton. Any of the mid distance to distance does interval quite a bit. So one last thing I had scribbled down here, because you have done so much within the last couple years, and obviously a great example of the crucible that was COVID-19. You know, for any, in your case, you were just becoming a small business owner, worst timing ever, but in some ways maybe the best timing, because while I saw that, you know, there was financial issues and you were stressed, out of that crucible, you really pushed yourself to do all these other things. But one thing I saw, great photos, by the way, is that you are officially a professional bodybuilder. How long did it take to get into the bodybuilding shape to then get your pro card and actually win a pro bodybuilding? That had to be a story behind why you wanted to do that.
So that actually is a kind of pretty funny story. So I did my first MMA fight and I was weighing in, and then I'm up there taking pictures with the guy and whatever. And I get off stage and like guy comes over, a guy that I didn't really know comes over to me and is like, dude, you've got to do natural bodybuilding. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I looked into it, and there was a show like a little over a month away, like in Lexington. And I was like, at Rupp Arena. And I'm like, okay. So I just signed up for it. And then I reached out to somebody that was given to me that said, hey, this guy's really good. He'll show you how to pose. And so I went, and the guy was like, at first he's like, oh yeah, you can do the competition here. Yeah, take your shirt off. And then he's like, oh dang, okay, yeah, like it was funny. Like I was already ready to go, but that's part of the thing is, I mean, again, like I should look that way. I do thousands of pull-ups like a week and stuff, and I push my body too. So that's the thing. One of my funny, I have a lot of haters and stuff too, but one of my funniest thing haters say is like, he's got popcorn. Oh, those are just popcorn muscles and stuff. And one of my friends, he's like, do they not understand? Literally everything you do is like performance based. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Like my muscles are not for show; they're for actual like performance.
Function.
You know. And so everything I've learned. I've played sports my entire life, so I've just gathered all the knowledge, and then I know what works best. And anybody I've ever trained or trained under me has become absolutely ripped as well. But it's just a different style that I push significantly harder and farther, but in minimal time, to where I don't really work out for more than 30 to 40 minutes at a time ever. But I just, yeah, it's pretty fun now.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I find it shocking that you have haters. I mean, I know you do. You write about them on Facebook, and you tell me it's hard for me as a coach, and I'm also a professional mental health counselor, how much effort people put in to being negative and detrimental to other people, as opposed to either encouraging them or just staying out of their way. You know, you've got two options there. So I'm glad you're now getting some recognition. Obviously, this title fight a week from now is a great opportunity for you to continue to build your brand and your name. And because you've got your hand in about 5 different things, I think it's really exciting. You know, there's this concept that we use a lot in counseling called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to learn and fire new sequences. And what you're talking about, like some people call it like muscle confusion, or, when you're talking about working out. So what's really cool is not only are you constantly pushing yourself physically, you're also constantly pushing your mind to adapt to new, like learning a whole new sport in boxing, or figuring out a way to accomplish something in chin-ups that had never done before, or the backwards running, or like even bodybuilding. Like all of this is great because it's like your brain is constantly finding new things. And that's actually really good for the mind to constantly be engaging in new things. So hats off to you and all those who support you, because you're a one of a kind guy for sure.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's all about continual growth. I mean, you said 1% better, but I mean the tagline at my gym is ultimate goal better than yesterday. So I mean,
Give us the tagline again, since it's your gym. Go ahead.
uh, ultimate goal is better than yesterday. So
Okay.
if you're better than yesterday in some form or fashion, physically, spiritually, or mentally, you're working on becoming the ultimate version of yourself. When you think you know it all, that's when you're pretty dumb. And so it's just surrounding yourself with people that raise your level and hold you accountable.
Yeah. I mean, that goes, like you said, that's not just physically, that's life in general, whether it's business, professionally, spiritually, relationship wise, and being able to take feedback and continue to improve. You remind me, and this is obviously a huge compliment. You'll know this guy's name. You remind me a little bit of David Goggins' mindset, where it's no challenge is too big. He kind of specializes in the ultimate, sort of endurance type stuff. But I really think getting around people like you and all the young kids that train with you, they're getting exposed to somebody who just wants to be a better version of themselves, as opposed to trying to set some goal that's outside of what they can control. And I always encourage people as a counselor that you always want to focus on internal locus of control, which is what's inside yourself and what you can do. You can set what time you wake up. You can set how many push-ups or sit-ups or whatever you do in a day, but you cannot determine how much somebody else does or what they say. And that's an external locus of control. And oftentimes anxiety and depression actually comes out of fixating on what you can't control or influence. And when you focus on what you can, like you're talking about, you really become empowered, which is just incredible to see you have that mindset.
Oh yeah, I learned at a very early age. Nothing bothers me if I can't physically do anything about it. Like, yeah, it sucks, but there's no point of stressing about it and making it worse if I literally can't do anything about it. I can only worry about what I can do and stuff. But yeah, I mean, your greatest strength and your greatest obstacle stares back at you in the mirror every single day. So, and your life depends on which one you feed the most. So I've been blessed to just have the values instilled in me and stuff like that. That's literally it. That's what I try to tell people a lot. I was like, I'm not, no one's above me or below me. I'm just hungrier than most people. But I found what my reason is here is because I light other people on fire and stuff. So I've got to watch a lot of people around me grow and challenge themselves, just because I was just signing up for fights and signing up for bodybuilding competitions, and I would just show up by myself, and I would hear all these people have excuses of like fights all the time. Well, my coach couldn't go. I'm like, well, are they fighting for you? Like, it's amateur anyways. Like, it's experience. Like, if I lose an amateur, congrats. You can make fun of me all you want. I'm here to get better. Like, hey, that's the mindset you got to take too. I don't lose. I win and I learn. If I ever did take an L, like on the I most likely it was a split decision, and then I learned like I will never leave a match this close to get stolen, and things like that. Like, and one of my friends, he gave me the worst body shot ever. Like when I first started, and I've never been hit in the body like that again. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Is just those are that you learn from your past. You're insane when you constantly keep doing the same thing, expect different things. But yeah.
Well, I love the mindset and the attitude you have. And like you said, it's really also the impact and the influence you can make on other people to help them see things more in in a healthier way of what they can influence and control. I look forward to having you back on, because it sounds like you're a month away from doing something new every month, because you talked about taking a fight on short notice, getting into bodybuilding on short notice, doing all types of things on short notice. So you're exactly a week away from the West Virginia amateur welterweight boxing championship, and that's held at Oak Hill High School. For anybody that's looking to come out and support you in person, I'm sure they can get tickets from you at the gym or something like that. So super excited. I'd love to have you back on afterwards and to just check in from time to time, because of all the things that you're doing. I really appreciate you being on the show. You mentioned sponsors. So if you have sponsors, shout them out now. I always throw out the fact that it's always important for people that are supporting local fighters, amateur and low-level pro, to support them by showing up, getting tickets from them. That really goes a long way. But do you have any sponsors? Obviously, your gym name is Ultimate Ninja. And what city are you in?
Ultimate Ninja in Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington.
And then and then the only sponsor I currently have right now is Death Grip Mustache Wax, which is actually a really, really good brand and stuff. It's I enjoyed their stuff before, and I just messaged them one day like, "Hey, you want to be in my shorts?" And kind of we grew up a pat that way, and then it's been a good pairing since.
Well, I was going to say, if you're sponsored by anybody, you should at least start with Mustache. Your
Yeah.
handlebar mustache is fantastic. I don't want to start your next competition focus, but there are mustache competitions. So
Oh, yeah, I'll be doing the World Games this next year. So they just ended, but I was preparing for the next year because I had too much stuff going on. But it was over in Europe somewhere. But yeah, I'll be doing the U.S. and World Games or Mustache Games.
fantastic. Well, that's just like what I was saying earlier. I feel like I have to have you on as a repetitive guest. So I look forward to doing that. We'll set something up so I can check in with you about every month and a half, whenever you've got something new coming up. So thanks so much for coming on to MMA Fancast. I try to cover more than just MMA, obviously boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, or you running up a wall and doing a backflip. It all counts for me. I would love to have you back on if you ever do decide to do another world record break. I'll bring you on so that we can do it as sort of an opportunity for you to raise sponsorship awareness. So you keep me in the loop. The next time you're going to try to set a record, even if it's months out, we'll get you on early so you can talk about it, so we can build up some publicity. Okay.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Great having you on. This has been first time guest of the show, Brendan Kelly. Hopefully not the last time he's on the show. So thanks so much for coming on. And I can't wait to hear what happens. You're exactly a week away from your title fight. Thanks so much, Brendan Kelly.
Appreciate you, man. Gonna go get that dub.
I appreciate you. You take care. Best skills to you.
All right. Bless.
All right, you got it.